Today, we're going to break down a news commentary that jumps between some worlds you might not expect to see connected. We're talking digital privacy, global politics, royal scandals, and even media lawsuits. We're going to try and untangle some of the threads that tie them all together.
So here's our roadmap. We're starting with a pretty big disagreement between the US and the UK over digital IDs. Then we'll get into a really interesting take on the Trump-Netanyahu Alliance. From there, we'll pivot to the British royals and wrap things up by looking at what's been called Donald Trump's media playbook.
All right, first up, the segment we're looking at kicked things off with some pretty serious concerns coming from a senior figure in the Trump administration. And it's all about the UK's plan to bring in a new digital ID system.
Now, what's really interesting here is that the criticism isn't just about the tech itself, it's about power. The argument is, how can you trust a government with this kind of data when they're already, apparently, prosecuting people for things they post online? It connects the whole idea of digital security to free speech.
And the commentator really doubled down on this, talking about what they called penitentiary risks in the UK. They claimed people are literally being jailed for tweets that barely anyone saw. So from their point of view, having the US push back is a good thing. And the big takeaway was a warning to other countries, basically saying, you need to watch this space very, very closely. So, sticking with this theme of international relationships, the commentary then pivots to the alliance between two very controversial leaders, former President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And look at how this was framed. A really stark contrast, right? They're described as two of the most vilified human beings on the planet, but in the same breath, they're held up as these effective leaders who, against all odds, are actually getting things done.
The argument here was that despite all the hostility they face, they somehow manage to create stability and pull things back from the brink of much larger conflicts. And this influence, according to the commentator, is so real that when Trump says something like "disarm Hamas," the group actually pays attention because, as they put it, they're media literate.
So all of this analysis really just boils down to one single question. Is this very controversial, very aggressive style of leadership a playbook that other countries, like Australia, should be studying when it comes to managing their own key alliances? All right, get ready for a total change of pace here. We're shifting from global politics to a very different kind of institution, the British royal family. And the commentary zeroed in on two wildly different stories that have them in the news right now.
First up, we've got a story that's, it's pretty unique. It's about King Charles and his love for gardening, which has apparently led to some local villagers complaining about the very strong smell of royal fertilizer. But then, boom. The tone shifts dramatically. The conversation immediately pivots to something far, far darker. Prince Andrew, who is back in the headlines over his connections to another convicted sex offender, Peter Nygard.
And the commentary on this was just incredibly blunt. The argument being made was that Prince Andrew has managed to sidestep any real consequences for his alleged actions for one single reason: his royal status.
The commentator just completely dismissed the idea that he was just a creature of his era, saying that his behavior was unacceptable even back then. The core point was that if anyone else without his title had done these things, they would have faced serious legal trouble, maybe even jail time.
For our final topic, the conversation circles all the way back to Donald Trump. But this time, it's not about his alliances, it's about his legal strategy, and specifically a lawsuit aimed at the BBC. So the commentator laid out what they see as Trump's four-step playbook for taking on the media. Step 1, fire a warning shot, a legal threat. Step 2 is to apply pressure, make them sweat over the potential cost. Step 3, a lot of the time, you just let it drop. The message is sent. And step 4, every now and then, you actually follow through and score a win.
So when you look at it that way, it's not just a legal tactic, is it? It's presented as a tool of influence, a way to send a very clear message to media outlets that their reporting could have huge financial blowback, and maybe make them think twice the next time around.
And that's where we'll leave this breakdown. After seeing how a single commentary can frame everything from digital privacy to royal scandals to legal threats, it really leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? In a world that is just saturated with opinions, how do we figure out where powerful commentary ends and the simple facts begin?